I think so. Stream, can you hear Mr. Flies 787, aka 787 driver, aka Tom, Texas Tom? I don't know what other nicknames he has.
We won't discuss the other nicknames I have. Good morning,
Good
everybody,
morning.
and happy Mother's Day to all you moms. We were all we all have a mom. Mine is deceased now. My folks are gone, but I think of her a lot on a day like this, especially.
Mm.
And, but yeah, it was great. Just saw my daughter and son, and my son-in-law, and my 15-month-old granddaughter off, and their two dogs. And oh my goodness, what a great weekend we had.
Nice.
Yeah, so we hoping we don't pass the COVID to each other, but
Well, and that's the thing is I'm going to visit my mom, later today, and that was the thought that crossed my mind is that, my mom being 70, let's see, she was born in, she's 76? Yeah, 76. So you always have to have that in your mind because I have been around people. I mean, I've been to the office this last few weeks. I went to the golf course yesterday. Yeah, it's like on your mind. And wear masks, yeah. And then not touch much and don't hug, I guess. But which will be
yeah,
hard to do on Mother's Day, but
it is, and we didn't wear masks. We just washed our hands, and I mean, and
no.
my daughter is a nurse, but she's been very, very careful, and but she's been working. She used to run an emergency room in one of the Austin area's biggest hospitals.
Oh wow.
When she had the baby, she took a different job and does hospice nursing. So she isn't exposed to it quite as much as she would be certainly if she was in the ER. But anyway, enough of that. We had a great time. It was just a blessing, and yeah. So
Parts of the benefits of being retired, right?
most definitely.
You're in
Of course,
town.
right now I don't think I'd be flying
That's true. That's true.
or doing very little of it.
That's true. Yeah.
But it is one of the on a day like this, a Mother's Day. If you're a reserve holder like I was, meaning I'm on call.
You get called up, don't you?
Oh yeah, on a Mother's Day, you're more than likely going out flying. So yeah, I've missed an awful lot of birthdays, anniversaries, Mother's Days, Father's Days, Christmases, thanks, you name it.
Yeah.
But that's part of the job, and you know,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
look,
sacrifice you make for other
yeah.
people to spend time with other people on those special occasions,
Hey, John, that's the way I always looked at it.
Yeah.
I'm allowing other people to enjoy being with their loved ones, and it's okay.
Yep.
So
Yep, exactly. Or
it was an
that's
honor,
even that
honestly.
special gift that's in the cargo hold for someone, that's being shipped
sure.
or whatever. Even the small stuff,
Right.
yeah. Whoa, that mountain range right there looks pretty dang good.
Boy, that UPS looks just gorgeous.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
I just updated mine, but I haven't flown it yet. And I'm wanted to ask you if I may.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to talk about this on stream, by all means say so. But um, developer license, I don't feel right getting the academic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right for me, especially if I'm going to stream.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, what the developer thing, it says it's X amount of dollars for a month.
Every month,
for
yep.
12 months. What happens at the end of 12?
No, it's just ongoing. Every month. Yeah.
I think that's probably what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so what it does is it and the thing is I actually do there people talk about the definition of a developer, right? I actually do dabble in modifying add-ons and the base system, and even if you go in and change a config file or whatever, a part of you is a programmer, a developer. You're a tinkerer. With the
Right.
developer license, you get. I'm also in talks with someone developing a piece of software that will. It's all about that currency, that online currency. So there's some stuff that hopefully happens this year. But anyway, I would if you that's a good choice. If you do get that, you get two copies, by the way. So you get two, so you could have two separate computers, or if you had, let's say, if you're a developer and your second employee needs a copy of P3D V5 or V4 or whatever, then you're allowed to have a second installation of Prepared. Brad says you end up paying more with the developer license. So only if you go consecutively for the equal amount of the professional license outright. So for example, if you go for 10 months, then no, you don't end up paying more. If you go, well, what's the cost? It's $10 a month. All right. So the cost of P3D outright is $200. So if you go more than 20 months, is my math correct? If you that 21st month is where you're paying more than outright. Now, here's the downside, right? Is it doesn't give you access to both V4 and V5. So if someone bought, I have a V4 developer license. I have a V5 developer license. So I'm actually paying $20 a month. But there's been times in the past where I have not used P3D for a month. So I could take a month off if I wanted, and I can come right back to it and repurchase it. So you could, especially if you had an X-Plane kick, you could do that. So, but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't fly the academic. I mean, let's face it. The vast majority of people are using the academic license. Whether or not they qualify for that, who knows? I don't know their scenario. I don't know if academic license includes someone who is learning, taking flight lessons. Do they legally qualify for an academic license? I don't know. But as a streamer, it's even more of a gray area because for one, it's a gray area with Lockheed Martin P3D to begin with because it's not an entertainment product. But I'm going to educate people today. This is the altitude indicator. There's my education moment for today. But yeah, no, I think you should. One should be either buy it outright or do the the license that you qualify for.
Yeah, it gives me a lot to think about. I'll make a decision. I'm getting ready to buy it pretty soon. It looks like more and more stuff starting to finally come out. So, but
yeah, and with it being early days on V5, it may be in my interest to go ahead and buy a license outright for $200 because I probably will be using V5 for more than 20 months.
Yeah, I think you're probably that's wise. And, and I think Tylenol with wings kind of brings up a good point too. Once Microsoft Flight Sim comes out, how much would I use it beyond that? So I don't know. Of course, I've got so much invested in it too, right?
It's a question of how long before we have the major add-ons that we want available in that sim, as well as, for example, the only reason I'm keeping P3D V4 is because I can't fly the 737 NGXU. So as soon as PMDG makes that 737 NGXU available for V5, there's not much keeping me on V4 at all, so I'll probably drop that license. And then, unfortunately, a couple of my friends bought a V4 professional license within the last year. And they didn't know V5 was coming, and they spent $200. Well, guess what? They either have to choose to stay on V4 or they have to do it again. So, yeah. It's all right. Let's do this giveaway. I think the giveaway closed. Did the giveaway? Yeah, it did.
Oh, it did?
No, actually, I said I was going to do it on approach or landing. So let's sorry, false alarm. I thought I had started it. All right, we'll go ahead and say, well, actually, we'll say 15 minutes. There we go. 15 minutes to the giveaway. Sorry about that. False alarm. So get in now, guys, if you want to. Exclamation ticket space and then the number of raffle tickets. We're giving away a gift card. You can choose either the X-Plane Org Store or the Sim Market gift card. This will be our third giveaway today. I'm just in that Merry Mother's Day spirit, I guess. So yeah, get in now, and we'll draw in 14. Well, we'll close in 14 minutes, and then we'll draw either on approach or landing. So, I'll probably draw right around there. And again, the other thing too is if any of you guys have any questions for our 787 pilot who's flown the, go ahead and give the list again of Boeing aircraft first off that you've flown, including MD.
Okay, so let's see. Of the Boeing airplanes, my first type rating was the 757, 767. And then the Super 80 was my next type rating.
And that's the MD-80, right?
Yep, the MD-80.
Okay.
Yeah, we called it the Super 80. That was splashed on the side of the airplane, Super 80, and all of that. I guess to kind of keep the MD-82s and 3s.
Ah,
And
okay.
later on with TWA, the 88s. But
80, yep.
87s, I can't remember. But anyway, so then, and in between there, obviously non-Boeing airplane was the Fokker 100. I had 10.5 years in that, which 4.5 years was as a Czech airman.
And then you, of course, the 7, but no 777.
No, I never got to the triple.
And 73.
I flew a lot of the 73, 10 about the same time, 10.5 years on the 737.
Which model of the 737?
We had all 800s. We have all 800s. I never got to the max because that came. I was out sick for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And earlier when you were introducing me, so yeah, I had 34 years with American Airlines. Whatever, 34 years with American, and been flying for 45 years.
45 years. That's right. Yeah.
So
okay, so 757, 767, MD-80, Fokker 100. I don't know if we have a good Fokker 100 in the sim or not.
We used to have a really good one in Flight Sim 10. It was I bought it. It was really nice, but I don't think there's anything out there. It was let me tell you, other than the 787, the F-100 was my very favorite airplane. It was a blast to fly.
The Fokker 100?
Yep.
Is your second favorite behind this?
Second favorite.
Behind the 787? Wow.
Behind the 78. I think if I had flown the 75 a little more, that might have been my favorite, but but the Fokker was such an easy airplane to fly, and it was so well the Europeans. So one thing I will absolutely say for Airbus, and although I never actually flew an Airbus, but one of the things I will say for the Europeans, well, they have the ergonomics down pat. I mean, they really do. That Fokker was so beautifully laid out, comfortable to fly in, and it was just a very fun aircraft. It's quirky, but it was fun to fly.
Well, that's interesting that that's your second favorite. That's interesting. I would have thought it would have been the 800, the 737-800 maybe, but
no, actually, John, that was one of my least favorites.
Least favorite? Oh, okay. That's funny. That's my favorite in the sim world, but
well, in the sim world, I'll tell you, the NGXU is probably one of my very favorites to fly because PMDG has done such a fabulous job of that. But that is a incredibly uncomfortable, loud aircraft to sit in for a long period of time.
Hold on, and the MD-80 isn't?
No.
The MD-80 is so ergonomically unfriendly as far as operation.
Everything's everywhere.
But you're saying it's comfortable to sit in and it's not as loud.
It's roomier and it's extremely quiet.
Because the engines are in the back. Yeah. Okay.
And the shape of that window in the front with that kind of square, flat window, the airplane was a lot less noisy, as long as the cockpit door windows didn't leak, which they did tend to do quite often. It get
Yeah.
pretty loud in there. You get an air leak squeal, but
All right, we got a few questions coming in. I'm not
good.
sure exactly what Spaceman 2299 means by this, but how does a pilot upgrade to the 777? So you didn't fly the 777, but take me on the journey. Just for a second, you went. I'm assuming you went from the 738 to the 787, or were you doing the
Yes.
7576?
Now,
Okay, so you were
so
doing the 738, and then
yep.
at some point you're like, okay, were you approached, or how did you get started on that
No.
787 path?
So airline flying, almost all airlines, certainly domestically, I mean in the United States, almost all airlines are seniority based.
Mm,
And the positions, like at American, we have what's called a four-part bid status. So you have your your base, your seat, and the aircraft, and whether it's international or domestic.
okay.
So you bid those positions when the company announces every 6 months, or we used to do it monthly. Now they're either every quarter or every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
They'll throw out a bid and they'll say we have let's say I'm a 737 captain based in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
domestically, and I want to go to the uh, 787
Mm-hmm.
as a captain internationally.
Mm-hmm.
I put in a bid for that, and the company says, okay, we have 5 captain slots open for training
Mm-hmm.
on a given date, 3 months or 6 months away. So I bid that. Now, but based on seniority, if I am awarded that bid, then it's mine. I own it. So
Mm,
that's how we do it. And the
okay.
same thing, whether go from a co-pilot to a captain, international to domestic, you want to change bases, same thing. If they have let's say I'm
Well, let me
uh,
understand this correctly. When you put the bid
sure,
in, you don't know if you've got it though.
correct. You won't know till the bid run happens.
And then the bid run happens at some point later. Okay, so once the bid run hits, how did they notify you? Was it a phone call, an email, a letter?
No, they actually what they do is um, well, eventually they would send you a message in your personal mail, company mail.
Company
But
email. Okay.
right, but what they do is they publish the bid awards, the preliminary bid awards, and then about a month later they make them finalized because they give a chance for you to dispute you were awarded something or not awarded something that you should have been awarded. You have a chance to dispute it.
So it was
Well, anyway,
publicly made available. You got an email, but it was also publicly listed who got it, right?
before you ever get a email, you're gonna get the preliminary bid because they won't tell you that you got it till it's for sure.
For sure, for sure. Okay.
Yeah, so it's your job to go and look at the preliminary bids, and you just go down the line. You find your seniority number with your name on it, and it tells you if you got it.
So
And
in that moment where you found that out, what did you feel? Were you excited,
oh,
intimidated?
no, no, super excited.
Like, did you just like call your wife and say, "Looking good"?
Oh yeah, I got the bid. I'm going to the 7-8. It's
Oh, that was. I can only imagine that moment.
well, here's what's kind of made it even more, put it more emotion into it, if you will. I was out sick for 2 years,
Mm,
and I didn't know if I'd ever fly again when I got sick. In
mm,
fact, I doubted I ever would. So as I got healthier and fixed the things that were going on in my life, with my body and everything,
mm-hmm.
fortunately, I found out, hey, I am going to be able to go back to work, and so they said, great. Yeah, when I got my medical reestablished,
Mm-hmm.
I called the company and they said, what airplane do you want to go on?
Mm,
Because if there's anybody junior to you, you can, at the base you wish to be in, it's yours. You don't have to bid it. They give it to you.
mm,
Okay. That's the rule. So coming off a long-term disability. So, oh, I got to tell you, I was looking at, do I want to go back to the 7.3? That would be really easy.
mm-hmm.
Do I want to go to the Airbus? That would be really hard.
Mm-hmm.
or do I want to go to the 7-8, which would be really cool, but I'll be really junior on it.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, I just went, I've only got 5 years left. I'm going to the 787,
Mm.
and I never regret it. So super excited, so blessed.
And then, before I answer two questions, basically they want someone asked how many hours do you have total, and then tell me what was the duration once the bid run was finalized. How long of training? How long was training before you flew? Right,
Those
the
are
right
all
seat.
great questions. Okay, to the first, I've got about 23,000, 24,000, about 23.5, let's say, on the time, 23,500 hours. I'd
Jeez.
have more if I hadn't have been a check airman because I did a lot of time in the simulators
Mm.
with guys, which I don't log. And then to the second question, once you are awarded a bid, so let's say your bid is for June 1st, they try to get you into training. Now, this is of course non-COVID because right now all our training is shut
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
But they would try to get you into training the month prior, okay? Because they really don't want to pay you.
To not be able to fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they always try to get you in the month prior, and
Mm-hmm.
it takes. Now we do a couple of weeks of home study, um, you know, video based
Mm-hmm.
home study course. Then you go in for about 10 days of ground school. Used to be 14. Now you go in for, I think it's about 10 days of ground school.
Mm-hmm. Does that
You
include
take,
simulator or no?
uh, if it is, it's not in motion, but
Okay.
we always go either into this. If there's a simulator available, they always try to put us in a simulator. If they don't have a simulator available, then they have these virtual trainers, which are basically kind of like our simulators, except they're
Mm.
all touchscreen. They're full size mock-ups of the cockpit,
Okay.
but you're touching a button on a screen, a great big
Okay.
monitor over your head,
That's where the
that
big
kind of thing.
dollar dues are. Yep.
Yeah, and then um, it's a good kind of a procedures trainer
Yeah.
idea. And then you take you take a couple of tests that you have to do. You have to do a multiple choice question on the systems, and then you have to do a procedures test so that when you go to the simulator, passing both those tests, you already know all the procedures, and now you're going to just really fly them in the simulator
Mm.
to really get them down because simulator time is very, very expensive.
Mm.
And the whole idea is we don't want to have to teach you the before starting engines checklists and the pre-flight and all of that in the
Yeah.
simulator, which takes a long time. We could do that in a procedures trainer that has all the right switches and does all
Mm.
the right things, everything's simulated.
Mm.
And then you do 2 weeks in a simulator, then you have your couple of different check rides, and then you go out with a check airman and fly the line. And
When you say fly the
that's
line, what does that mean?
so the first time I ever flew, it's kind of interesting. I flew the DC-10 as a flight engineer, okay? A plumber, as we
Mm-hmm.
used to call them. I plumbed on the DC-10 when I got hired by American for a year and a half.
Mm.
So my first airplane to fly for American, to actually fly the airplane, was the Super 80, okay,
Mm.
the MD-80,
Mm-hmm.
obviously in the right seat. I'd never flown a jet before, never. All my time was piston engine, mostly below 10,000, and I had a very little turbine experience and very little pressurized experience.
Mm.
But that kind of speaks to the quality of the training too. Um, so the first time I actually flew a jet was with pretty much a full load of passengers from Dallas Fort Worth to somewhere. I
Mm.
don't remember. I'd have to go back in my logbook. But yeah, so the check airman is out there taking you out on a revenue trip. On the international stuff, it's always an international trip. So I think I went to Madrid, Spain. So I got my European qualification going over the track, North Atlantic track system. And then 3 days later or 4 days later, I went to Shanghai. Did my Pacific
Wow.
qualification.
All right, so back to so ground school was 10 days. Simulator time was a couple weeks. Are you talking a couple of months between finding out that you'd been it and then you were in right seat?
Yeah.
Getting the check.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Because it could take you a couple weeks to get that. We call it IOE, initial operating experience. That's what you get with the check airman. And he signs you off and says, hey, there's a huge checklist of things that they have to make sure you've done. And he makes sure that you're competent, obviously, for all that. And then says, you're on your own, go out there and
all right. Another question that you can think about for a moment before you answer, because I'm going to do the giveaway. And we've talked about this before, but John 3057 has not heard the answers. Have you used the Quality Wing 787, and what do you think of it? Think about that answer, and I'm going to do a drawing, and then we'll come right back to that. So, 25 people in the drawing. This is our third giveaway of the day. We got, it says 8,284 snacks tickets were purchased. And we're going to light this up right now. You do need to be present to win. But if you heard that, you're here.
Are you ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Yes! Go! Yes! 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 Freedom!
We have to wait for why we wait for a claim. Go ahead and answer that Quality Wing 787 question. Hopefully my 747 is supposed to be turning on like it just did.
Oh, cool. That's beautiful. Okay, so the question was QW. Okay, well, it's a beautiful looking airplane. They've done a nice job with the rendition of it inside and out. My biggest complaint with it is the flight management system is so badly done that it's almost, I hate to say, it's not useless, but it almost is. I have had very difficult. You can't when you're on and you can do this in the NGXUs. You can do or in the PMG. You could do it in this airplane right here. You could do it in the triple and so on. In a Boeing airplane, when you're on vectors for an ILS approach, we do what's called extend the center line. So you pick a point out there.
I remember you teaching me that, yeah.
Right. So you pick a point out there, usually not the final approach fix, but one or two waypoints, depends on how long you think your downwind's going to be. Anyway, you pick a point out there on the approach, you put it to the direct page, okay? And then on the 6th right, it says intercept. Now, usually if it's if they programmed it right, it'll say the inbound course to the ILS or to the approach. If not, you can type in the inbound course, which you get off your jet chart.
Yeah.
And that extends the magenta line all the way out from the center line of the runway out to almost infinity. And you know exactly where you are in relation to that line. And you can use when you're cleared like a 330 heading to intercept the ILS approach to 36, you can hit, instead of hitting, once you're on that heading, you can hit VNAV, right? Or pardon me, LNAV. And it does a much more gentle approach to the localizer. And it's just, anyway, you can't do that with the QW. It screws it up every time, but a lot of times it doesn't even give you the intercept page.
I wonder if it's in their development roadmap to rectify
I'd like
that.
to find. I'd really like to talk to those guys. And
they
just
were
say,
at the expo, so it's canceled this year. But that would have been a fascinating conversation for you to.
Oh, I had planned on sitting down with them and saying, "Look, I'm a real world guy. I know you've had some real world guys probably talk to you about this, but you really need to fix this stuff."
Yeah.
Because you got a nice product.
Yeah.
The sounds are right on the money.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they're very good question. You guys be thinking about another question. I think I missed one or two, but congratulations to Jenanigans. He was successfully claimed. Unfortunately, we had to re-roll because the previous winner was not present. Unfortunately, but Jenanigans takes it. And please direct message me on Discord, Jenanigans, and designate whether or not you want X-Plane, Org gift certificate, or Sim Market. So there you go. I'll tell you what. There we go. All right. Let me just scroll back up here. Go ahead. Brad's there.
Hey, Brad. It's good to see. I forgot to mention. I got going on some questions here, but let's see if there's any others here.
My topic.
Somebody asked about flight hours.
Yeah. So you have 23,500 hours total.
Yeah, but somebody had a question about are there? Oh yeah, Spaceman says, are there total flight hour requirements for large aircraft like the 787?
Oh yeah, what is the minimum hours that a 787 right seater guy could? I mean, could you get a right seat with 5,000 hours in a 787?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there really are none. Once you have the requirements for an ATP, because all of our co-pilots do get type rated in the airplane. That's why the 757 was my first type rating, because I was an international co-pilot on the 7675, and they give you a type rating.
We just hit top of descent, people. So yeah, so they give you the type rating, and then
So they give us all type ratings, and if you're a co-pilot, and really there aren't any. You got hired, and
so in theory, a guy get 1,500, 2,000 hours. He could be right seat.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think too many insurance companies would approve of that, but
okay, yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah. The other thing here is maybe they should spend less time at the expo and more time releasing their third hotfix. I think they could do both. I think there's a I imagine how better their hotfix would be if they had a conversation with Tom. And me in their face saying, "Hey, yo, listen to the Tom."
See, John 3057, you're welcome. I appreciate that. And Spaghetti Bowl, what thing about the 787 does he not like?
Not the quality wings, the real world.
The real world, yeah, I figured that. Boy. Sometimes the radio panels, because they're like LCD screens or whatever, they sometimes aren't very bright.
If you're gonna complain about something, that's pretty small, isn't it?
It's really small.
He had to reach for something.
I'm kind of struggling for that one, but there were a few things.
I would say, I had something, but it slipped my mind. But there's something that is on the real plane that is in the sim as well, and I was like, why do they need to do that?
What?
I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't remember. But anyway.
Well, I'll give you something that I'll give the 737 over the 78, and that's the HUD. The HUD on the 737 was or is designed to go to Cat 3 minimums. And when I say that, I mean hand fly to Cat 3 minimums. And the 787, it's there as an aid, but you don't hand fly it to Cat 3 minimums. You use it as an aid on an auto land approach. Now, what I liked about the 7.3 over the 7.8 is the 737's HUD was a little smaller. So it's, for me anyway, with my vision, I could see, I didn't have to move my eyes at all when I looked at the HUD. So you got to be careful that you didn't stare either, which is not good for landings, by the way, in the real world. You stare at a point, you're likely to not flare very well. But anyway, It was the resolution was better, the presentation was better, but it's pretty minor. The There's not a whole lot in the 7.8 they didn't get right. When they called it the Dreamliner, I tell people this all the time. It wasn't just a marketing term. They really got it right.
I'm so
'Cause
happy that you were able to have that as your swan song aircraft. That's pretty cool.
Me
So
too.
that kind of brings up the next question, and that is there anything in aviation you really, really wish you had done that you haven't, and maybe wouldn't
Oh,
have it?
definitely.
Maybe the 777.
7.4 more than the
7.4.
triple for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
I guess if I really wanted to do it, I could go get a job as a captain flying there's
Cargo.
cargo. Um, but for an international
Mm-hmm.
carrier.
Atlas or
But
something. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm okay. I'm over that.
There you go.
Um, I
Uh.
would love to have flown a fighter.
Oh yeah.
Would absolutely love to have done that. And for whatever reason, my path was going to be general aviation,
Yeah.
but there'll always be that part of me that wish I had flown a fighter,
There you go.
at least in training, anyway.
Yeah. This is more of an engineering question. The 787 uses its generators to start the engine. Does it use both gens for each engine to start, or just one gen?
Oh, I'd have to get into the books again.
787
Um,
uses to start engine. Does it use both gens for each engine? Yeah, my guess is that it would be either or. I mean, it would, yeah, I would think one, but I don't know.
yeah, I'd have to get into the book, Spaceman, and I've got it here. I'll look here in a few minutes, but it is what's so cool with the airplane is, right? You start both engines at the same time.
Wait a second. Do you start them both at the same time? Yep, but
Yeah.
he's saying, so you turn the engine generators on before the engine is started?
Yeah, because we don't turn the generators on and off. We
It's just
leave them on.
automatic, isn't it?
It's automatically done.
Yeah.
In this airplane, you just leave them on, which is super nice.
Mm.
And I mean, the only thing we turn on and off really are the fuel pumps and the hydraulic pumps.
Mm.
But um, in any event, you have to have either two external power cords plugged there. You can plug three into the airplane to fully power the aircraft, but nobody plugs in three. So you plug in two external power cords,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to have the APU. Okay. And which is almost always we use the APU. So the APU has two generators. Now I'm thinking the system's out here.
Mm-hmm.
The APU has the two generators. That is enough to power the air compressors to start the engines, because it does not use bleed air, which is just so amazing. The airplane's just a marvel of technology, of engineering. We don't sit there and use bleed air to pressurize the airplane. You have these big air compressors that do that.
Do you have a go-to GA aircraft that you like in the flight sim world? Any GA, either yourself flying or having seen on YouTube or Twitch? Anything?
Okay. The flight sim world, I would say, GA.
You don't fly a lot of GA, I'm assuming, except on FS
Actually,
Economy.
If you see, yeah, I was going to say, have you seen FS Economy lately?
Yeah, I forgot about that for a millisecond, and then I remembered. So yeah, what is your go-to GA? You probably right now you're thinking of either between this one or this one or this one.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm a GA guy, right? That was my background. So I can tell you in real life, my very favorite GA airplane to fly was the Baron 58. And the Bonanza A36. Just absolutely fabulous airplanes. They flew beautifully. You could actually lose an engine in a Baron and it wouldn't take you further down to the scene of the accident. If you did everything right, the airplane would get you back safely.
But in the sim,
The Baron's nice, but I kind of like some of the bigger. I like some of the turboprops, but I mean that. I haven't flown the TBM 900. I don't own it yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to buy it soon. And I love flying the TBM 850. Um, and I like flying the Caravan, which is a
Oh,
lot of
the
fun.
208. Yep.
Yeah,
So
that
is that
thing's
your
pretty
go-to? You
cool.
can say 208 is your go-to?
I'd say that's pretty close to it for a single engine.
Single engine turboprop
I'll take that.
Cessna 208. That's a good
Yeah.
choice. The Caravan.
By the way, the Coronado F-33 is a sweet airplane too.
The F-33. There you go. Pilots KCX with the subscribe. Pilots KCX with the subscribe. Thank you. All right. Do you have the 208, the new one with the G1000, or you with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do.
I like that plane. I like the 6-packs as well, the gauge as well. But going back here just a little bit here, we're on descent, by the way. We're passing through flight level 210, descending down to the Surfer 1. We're coming up to Gnarly into San Francisco. And I need to prepare for my landing here pretty soon. But go ahead and answer this question. Do you ever do taxi in without APU? Thank you, Pilots KCX.
Let's see. Do I ever taxi in without the APU? Almost never. Especially the 787. You're gonna, in order to have any kind of power at the gate, you really, our procedure is you just start the APU 3 minutes prior to gate arrival. Or if you're going to single engine taxi, as soon as you get the airplane off the runway, we'll start the APU. You can single engine taxi the 787 on after landing, but you cannot single engine taxi for takeoff because of the weight it would require too much thrust.
So you can't do a single engine taxi out. So if you're in a long delay, you're just both engines are going.
Yeah.
We got a subscribe. We got a gifted sub from Jananigans to Nightmare Frame and 17 Camaro. Thank you, Jananigans. I appreciate that very much. Turbinator's also here. He loves the F-33A, and Turbinator likes you. I'd like you too.
Hey, Turbinator, how you doing? Yeah, I love that F-33. That's just a beautiful airplane. I flew those in real life, and
Turbinator's flown that plane on Twitch live more than anyone else on the planet. Hands down, I would guarantee that. He loves that bird. Thank you again, Jananigans.
Sweet airplane in real life too.
The other thing here is, go ahead.
I'll take that over the V-tail. The V-tail's sexy.
But
it's a beautiful looking airplane, but it's squirrely as heck.
Yeah.
It's a great aircraft. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't, if somebody wanted to, if the price was right and I was in the market for an airplane, I'd buy one. But I'll take the F-33 any day. It's more stable.
Yeah, that's a good plane. Explanation has a funny comment here. He said he was in the ZDC TeamSpeak yesterday when I was flying the 747 out of DCA, and we were laughing so freaking hard. I'm glad I provided you guys some entertainment. I was definitely not online, and I definitely did a go-around. But you got to admit that second attempt at landing on runway 19 in the 747 at DCA, that was a pretty good landing for a guy who has very few hours in the 74. But I'm glad that I'm able to provide you with some laughter. That's what we're about here most of the time. Pilots KCX gifting a sub to Scotty Tuhani. Pilots KCX, thank you so much. Jananigans, both of you guys, thank you very, very much. I'm just because you guys are so amazing, and Tom here is just, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps from hearing all these stories and tellings of technology and this, that, and the other. I'm just really enjoying this moment. So thank you very much for being here, Tom. And do you have a question for either the chat or myself or both? Let's see here. I'm going to do another giveaway. We will not draw this. We will not draw this until we get park at the gate. So let's reset. And start. There we go. Our fourth giveaway of the day. Go ahead.
Well, I love to share my love for aviation, my passion, and the skills that God gave me to be able to do this, and so I mean, I truly enjoy it. It's my pleasure to do it, and as soon as I can get a few things worked out, I'll start streaming. And
we look forward to that for sure.
My goal is to and big shout out to John Fly here for helping me with get started with some of that. But yeah, I live in DFW. It gets hot. I'm older. Yard work, you take advantage of it when it's not 100 degrees or 90 degrees. And it's been really nice the last few weeks. I'm so sore I can hardly move. But
I hear you.
So I've really been concentrating most of everything I have into getting. People say you're going to be more busy when you're retired. It's true.
My retirement is so far away, and not by choice. I'd like to retire tomorrow.
But yeah, I know the feeling. John, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have I've got my Warthog thing set up here, and I was trying to get it set up for Flight Sim yesterday. I'm sorry, for P3D.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, can you share or export and your
I would
settings?
love to be able to do that. Can we? We probably can. There's probably an export. And do you have an import button?
Yeah, there is. If you look at the setup, do you use FSUICP or whatever that's called, or do you just?
I do, but not for controls.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I don't either for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can, and when you go into your settings, there's under controls, there's an export button. I think it's
So you want all of mine, and then you have to basically you're gonna mimic what I have.
Exactly, and then I can just tweak it
for your liking. Yeah, I can do that.
That'd be sweet. That'd be really great.
Let me write that
I can
down.
import it.
Export joystick settings, and you have the Warthog HOTAS system, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I also bought those TPR rudder pedals by Thrustmaster.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, they are nice.
I wonder how they compare to the MFG, the MFG crosswinds that I have, which I think are king, but I'm looking potentially to pick up a second set of pedals for this computer behind me. Because if I do build this, I'm going to build this new Intel PC next month. So it looks like I'm going to have an AMD simulator, and then I'm going to have an Intel simulator, and then I'm going to be able to do direct comparison. How come my plane's not descending? That's not good.